This video includes a set of different linear equations. Okay, so these correspond to all the linear equations that will be on your test. So these are all the linear equations that are on your study guide. Okay, so the first one is a two-step equation. Solve for x. 12x plus 20 equals negative 18. We like to identify the operations that are happening to our variable before we start solving. So I see 12x, that means 12 times x, so that's multiplication. And then plus 20 is addition. So I'll start by doing the opposite of addition, which is subtraction. So I'll subtract 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. Subtract 20 on the other side as well. Now I have 12 multiplied by x equals negative 38. Okay, now I want to do the opposite of multiplication. So I want to divide by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. Divide by 12 on the right side as well. And then negative 38 over 12 is an improper fraction. Okay, you might want to divide this on a calculator, get a decimal, or we can try to simplify the fraction. Okay, I know that 36 divided by 12 is 3. Okay, that would use up 36 twelfths, so it would leave me with 2 more twelfths left over. I don't want to write it as 2 twelfths. I want to simplify that fraction by dividing the top and bottom by 2, and I would say 1/6. Important that we pay attention to the sign. If we're taking a negative and dividing it by a positive, our answer is going to be negative. Okay, next linear equation, a little bit more complicated, or a lot more complicated than the other one. Okay, 4x minus 6x plus 22 equals 12 plus 4x minus 7 plus 8x. So here, you see that there are variables on both sides of the equation. Okay, so that makes it more complicated. And you see that on each side, it's not simplified. There are like terms that we can combine. So I want to make sure that when I combine like terms, I'm keeping left side terms with left side, right side with right side. I'm not mixing the two. So on the left side, I see two variable terms. I see 4x and negative 6x. Those are like terms because they both have x. 4x minus 6x is negative 2x. Okay, and then the positive 22 is the only constant, so we have nothing to combine it with. On the right side, I also see two variable terms, 4x and 8x. So I'll add 4x and 8x, and I get 12x. I see two constant terms, 12 and negative 7. So I'll combine those as well. 12 minus 7 is 5. Okay, now the left side is simplified, the right side is simplified. So the next thing I want to do is get that variable term away from one of those sides. I only want to have variables or an x term on one side of my equation. So I am going to subtract the whole term 12x. 12x minus 12x is 0. And I'll subtract 12x on the other side as well. Negative 2 minus 12 is negative 14. So now I have negative 14 times x plus 22 equals positive 5. Okay, so now I'm left with a two-step equation where x is getting multiplied by negative 14 and we're adding 22. So the inverse of add is to subtract. So I'll subtract 22 to get 0. I'll subtract 22 on the right as well. So now I have negative 14 multiplied by x equals 5 minus 22, which is negative 17. And now I want to do the inverse of multiply by negative 14, so that would be divide by negative 14. Negative 14 divided by negative 14 is 1, and I'll divide by negative 14 on the right side as well. Now I see an improper fraction again. So you can put it in your calculator, but I'll try to just simplify the fraction. Okay, so negative divided by negative is going to be positive, so this time our solution is positive. If I think of dividing 17 by 14, how many groups of 14 can I get in 17? I can get 1. Okay, that used up 14 fourteenths, so there are 3 more fourteenths. So it's positive 1 and 3 fourteenths, which cannot be simplified any further. Okay, here's another equation. And here we have variables on both sides again, and we need to simplify each side again, but we're not simplifying by combining like terms. We will combine like terms soon, but first we need to distribute. Okay, so I have negative and then parentheses x plus 5. That means that I have the opposite of both of those. I need to distribute that negative. Some of us like to think of it as if we're distributing a negative 1. If that makes more sense to you, that's fine. minus x or negative 1 times x is the same thing. Either way, it flips the sign of positive x to negative x. And negative 1 times 5, we're just distributing that minus sign to the 5, also flips it to a negative 5. Okay? On the other side, we want to distribute it as well. 2 times x and 2 times 2. 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 2 is 4. And we'll just bring down that positive 14. Okay, so now I'm checking, are both of my sides of the equation simplified? No, the left side is simplified, but the right side is not. We can still add 4 and 14 and get something that looks a little more simplified. 4 plus 14 is 18, and we'll just bring down that variable term, 2x. So now we have negative x minus 5 equals 2x plus 18. Once again, I don't want to start using inverse operations until I get the variable term on one side. So I will subtract 2x. 2x minus 2x is 0. Subtract 2x on the other side. Negative 1x minus 2x is negative 3x. If it helps you to see a 1 right there, put a 1 there. 1 times x is the same thing as x by itself. So if the 1 helps you to think, oh, negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3, you can write in that 1, and it's the same thing. Then we still have the minus 5, and on the other side we have a positive 18. Okay, so now we are ready to do inverse operations with our two-step equation. Negative 3 multiplied by x, subtract 5, the opposite would be 2, add 5. Negative 5 and positive 5 makes 0, that's why it cancels. Add 5 on the right side as well. Now we have negative 3 multiplied by x equals 23. Okay, so now if I have negative 3 multiplied by x, the inverse would be to divide by negative 3. Negative 3 over negative 3 is 1. Divide by negative 3 on the other side as well. And let's simplify this. Again, if you want to stop there, I would give you full credit, but it's better, especially, if you're honor students, I do expect you to be able to make the effort to simplify that and give me a mixed number. So 23 divided by negative 3 is going to be negative because we have a positive divided by negative. Now, I know it's very close to 8, right? Because 24 over 3 would be 8. So it's actually going to be 7 and some thirds. Let's think about that. 21 over 3 would be 7. So 21 thirds gets us those 7 wholes. 2 more thirds left over, so it's negative 7 and 2 thirds. Okay, let's look at another equation. Now we bring in a fraction. Okay, we have 2/5 times x plus 7 equals 13. Now, we discussed that we could start by distributing that. 2/5 times x is 2/5 x, 2/5 times 7 is 14/5. But dealing with all of those fifths is kind of, tedious. So we preferred to multiply by 5 and cancel out that 5 on the bottom. Why does it cancel? Because now we have a 5 on top of a fraction and a 5 on the bottom of the fraction. 5 divided by 5, actually that should say 1. Okay, so that's why it cancels. If I multiply by 5 on the left side, I want to multiply by 5 on the right side as well. Okay, 13 times 5 would be 65. Okay, and on the left side, I still have that 2, the numerator of that fraction. I only canceled out the bottom, the denominator. And I still have this binomial, these things in parentheses, x plus 7. Okay, so now I have 2 times x plus 7 equals 65. Now I have two choices, either I can distribute or I can divide by that 2 on the outside. We discussed that. We can do inverse operations right away. Think of leaving the parentheses for the end, doing the multiplication first, undoing the multiplication, doing division first. Looking at this one, if I would divide by 2 right away, it's not like so convenient because 65 divided by 2 wouldn't give me a whole number. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute actually. So I'm going to do 2 times x is 2x, and I'm going to do 2 times 7 is 14. Okay, so now I have a two-step equation. X is getting multiplied by 2, and then we're adding 14. Opposite of add, subtract 14 to get 0. Subtract 14 on the other side as well. So now I have 2 multiplied by x on the left. On the right, I'm going to subtract 65 minus 14. 5 minus 4 is 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. So we have 51. Okay, and now we'll divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Divide by 2 on the right side. So I have 51 divided by 2, we'll go ahead and simplify that. Positive divided by positive, we're going to have a positive solution. 50 divided by 2 is 25. So this is 25 and 1/2. There is one more equation. This video did get quite long. It's already 10 minutes. So I'm going to do that other equation on a separate video for you.